Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram. Jaya Nishinhadev, Nishinhadev. Nishinhadev, Jaya Nishinhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Gauranitai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma 𝒍𝒑𝒂𝒚𝒔 Chadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma 𝒍𝒑𝒂𝒚𝒔 Chadma. Bandha mohe savadhana mote. Bandha mohe savadhana mote. যাহার প্রসাদে ভাই এই ভবতরিয়া যায়। যাহার প্রসাদে ভাই এই ভবতরিয়া যায়। কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি হয় যাহা হইতে কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি হয় যাহা হইতে গুরুমুখ পদ্ম বাক্য চিত্তে করিয়া ঐক্য। গুরুমুখ পদ্ম বাক্য চিত্তে করিয়া ঐক্য। আর না করি মনে আশা আর না করি মনে আশা শ্রী গুরু চরণে রতি এই সেই উত্তম গতি। যে প্রসাদে পুরে সর্ব আশা যে প্রসাদে পুরে সর্ব আশা चक्षुदान दिल जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिल जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ हईते आविद्या विनाशयाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ हईते आविद्या विनाशयाते वेदे गाए जहाँ रचरित वेदे गाए जहाँ रचरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु লোকনাথ লোকের জীবানা, লোকনাথ লোকের জীবানো, আহা প্রভু কর দয়া, দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া, এই বেজাজ গোসক ত্রিভুবনা, এই বেজাজ গোসক ত্রিভুবনা, শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনর বন্ধু, শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনর বন্ধু, লোকনাথ লোকের জীবানা, লোকনাথ লোকের জীবানা, প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবনা, আহা প্রভু করো দয়া, দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া, আহা প্রভু করো দয়া, দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া, প্রভুপাদ করো দয়া, দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া, এই বেজাজ গোসক ত্রিভুবনা, এই বেজাজ গোসক ত্রিভুবনা, জয় প্রভুপাদা, জয় প্রভুপাদা, প্রভুপাদা জয়, জয় প্রভুপাদা, জয় প্রভুপাদা, জগদ্গুরু শিল প্রভুপাদা, জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ, প্রভুপাদ, প্রভুপাদ শিল প্রভুপাদ, জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ, প্রভুপাদ, প্রভুপাদ শিল প্রভুপাদ, জয় জয় গুরুদেব, 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 জয় গুরুদেব, নমঃ ওম বিষ্ণুপদায় কৃষ্ণপৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামিনিতি নামিনে। निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari Jaya Radha Govinda Sri Radhe Jaya Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari जय पंचतत्व जय गौरनिताय, पंचतत्व जय गौरनिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल।
विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक अष्टसहस्रमदेश भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य इस्कॉन प्रतिष्ठा जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की। प्रेम से कह जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद के। श्री श्री राधा गोविंद देव की जय, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय, श्री श्री पंचतत्व की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, Guru and Gauranga, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada की। सभी लोग प्रार्थना बोलिए। आध्यात्मिक गुरु के चरण कमल ही एकमात्र साधन है जिनके द्वारा हम शुद्ध भक्ति प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मैं उनकी चरण कमलों में अत्यंत भक्ति एवं श्रद्धापूर्वक नतमस्तक होता हूँ। उनकी कृपा से जीव भौतिक क्लेशों के महासागर को पार कर सकता है तथा कृष्ण की कृपा प्राप्त कर सकता है। मेरी एकमात्र इच्छा है कि उनके मुख कमल से निकले हुए शब्दों द्वारा अपनी चेतना को शुद्ध करूं। उनकी चरण कमल में अनुराग ऐसी सिद्धि है जो समस्त मनोरथों को पूर्ण करती है। मेरी बंद आँखों को खोलते हैं तथा मेरे हृदय में दिव्य ज्ञान भरते हैं। जन्म जन्मांतर वे मेरे प्रभु हैं। वे प्रेम भक्ति प्रदान करते हैं और अविद्या का नाश करते हैं। वैदिक शास्त्र उनके चरित्र का गान करते हैं। हे गुरुदेव, करुणा सिंधु तथा पतितात्माओं के मित्र, आप सबके गुरु एवं सभी लोगों के जीवन है। हे गुरुदेव, मुझ पर दया कीजिए तथा मुझे अपने चरण कमलों की छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपकी जस तीनों लोकों में फैला हुआ है। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अमृत प्रभु राधा माधव लगा, जय राधा माधव डाउनलोड है, लगा स्टार्ट कर। वो लगा रहे हैं, स्टैंड लेकर जाओ, स्टैंड लेकर। अच्छा, शिवम प्रभु बहुत अच्छा कर दिया था आपने वहाँ से, बहुत अच्छा कर दिया। क्या? हाँ, पहले और ये वाले फूल ना मेरे से डिजाइन ही नहीं हो रहे, तो वाले फूल होते हैं ना छोटे छोटे वाले।
Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to Hare. All glories to Hare. Thank you very much.
चित केवलया भक्त्या वासुदेव परायणा अघं झुन्नन्ति काष्णेन निहार मिवभास्कर. We are discussing the part that somebody, Kechi, not all, Kechi, somebody simply by acting devotional service to Vasudeva, he immediately finishes all reaction of sinful life. Simply by devotional service unto the Vasudeva, one can become free from all sinful reaction of life. Bhakta means by devotional service. The bhakta, there are 9 different processes and the same, but according to our capacity, they are divided into 9 processes. So it begins with Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padusevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dasam Sakham Makam. Beginning with Savanam, hearing. 9 processes are hearing, chanting, then worshipping, serving, and offering everything. In this way, there are 9 different ways. The beginning is hearing. Hearing, just you all ladies, gentlemen, you have come here to hear. Then, hearing, if your hearing is perfect, then kirtanam means describing or preaching. So, this movement, Krishna consciousness movement, we are first giving chance to the people in general for hearing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was talking with Ramananda Rai, he especially gave stress on this point of hearing. If you hear, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never conquered by anyone, but a devotee who is hearing about him, he can conquer over him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he does not manufacture anything, he simply follows the previous Mahajan. He said, Jnane prayasam udapat. One should not try to speculate to understand the Supreme. This habit submissive, jnane prayasam upasa namante, very submissive to hear from the right person. So, hearing is so important, therefore our all Vedic literature is called that cannot be understood by using our imperfect senses. Now the question is, from whom to hear? In the Shastra it is said, Sanama Ghorita. You have to hear from realized saintly person. It is said in the Bhagavatam, Patena Pariprasana Sevaya Upadekshan Jnanam Jnanina Tattvadarshana. We have to hear from a person. He must be a devotee of the Lord. So it is stated in the Shastra that Satkarma Nipuna Vipra Mantra Tantra Visharada Avaishnava Guru Nasasya Sat Sapacha Guru. It is said that a Brahmana who is very well expert in the Brahminical activities and Mantra Tantra Visharada knows all the Vedic mantras, but if he is not a Vaishnava, he cannot become Guru. But a person born in a family of dog eater, sapacha, of Gaudiya Sampradaya, he has also said that 𝒂𝐻𝐻𝐵 Guru na sasya. So, he said that, but I forget this verse, that a person, Bhutahari Kathamritam Savanam na kartam, 𝒂𝐻𝐻𝐵 Bhutahari Kathamritam Savanam na kartam. He says that you do not try to hear from a person who is 𝒂𝐻𝐻𝐵, Harikathamritam, the Harikatha, the message of Krishna, like Bhagavatam. You should not hear from a person who is not. In the Bhagavatam also it is said, Satam prasangat mama bija sangvida bhavanti ritkanna rasayana katha. When we hear from Sadvyakti or Vaishnava, that we get real effect. So if one argues that Harikatha is pure, if a Vaishnava speaks, what is the harm there? Just like milk, it is very nice food, but if it is touched with the leaves of a snake, it becomes spoiled. Therefore, it is concluded that we have to hear the transcendental message of Krishna from a realized soul, a devotee. So this hearing test is recommended that you should hear from a realized person who is Sadachara Sampanna Vaishnava. So, so it is stated in the Shastras and the Goswamis as Sarvapadhi vinimuktam tatparatena nirmala. Anyone who has no more designation and he is pure from domination. Upadhi means so long we think that I am this body, that means I am decorated. That Indian and Muslim, we are decorated with upadhi. Upadhi Shunya is described in the Vedas when one aham brahmasmi. So there are two Brahma, Parabrahma and ordinary Brahma. They are Anu. The Parabrahma is all-pervading and Brahma is not all-pervading. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that 𝒍𝒘𝒂𝒚𝒔 𝒍𝒐 bharata. Kshetra, when he was describing, kshetra means this body and kshetraga means the soul who knows about this body. So there are two kshetraga. One kshetraga is the jiva, soul. Kshetraga is you are not only kshetraga. The jiva soul is kshetraga, he knows, just like you know, I know, in my body. So there are two kshetraga. One kshetraga I am, just like I know this is my body, you know this is your body, but I do not know what is going on in your body you do not know what is going on in my body. Therefore Krishna says, cha eva kshetragyan cha api mang vidhi. Not only you are kshetragya, is everyone. In this way, if we understand our position that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of our Godhead, is great, and therefore as the master commands the servant that what rascal you are doing, what I say you do it. Living entities, one the superior who orders and the other inferior who carries out the order. This is further recorded in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chahang ridisannivistya matta smriti jnanam apoharanam. He says, Lord Krishna says, that I am situated in everyone's heart. I am giving order, matta, smriti jnana. And then the jivatma gets knowledge and carries it out. So when one is in knowledge of Kshetra, Kshetraga, then his devotional life begins. This understanding of the relationship between God and ourselves is more clearly explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he says, Jiver Swarupaya Nitya Krishna Das. Our real identity is that we are eternally servant of God. This understanding, pure understanding, is called mukti. When we understand that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is my eternal master and I am eternal servant of him, the definition in Bhgavatam, mukti hityatarupam sarupena avasthiti. Mukti means when we give up our wrong ideas and we stay in our real identification, that is called mukti. So a bhakta who understands clearly that I am eternal servant of God and God is my eternal master, this very understanding means mukti. Misunderstanding. There is no question of mukti. Here the word is kechit kevalaya, somebody. The purpose is that most people, they are either karmis or gyanis. Karmis or gyanis. Karmis means those who are working very hard day and night for sense gratification. And Gyanis means after frustrated in such activities, he tries to give up this world, Brahma Sattva Jagan Mithya. Jnana means to know real fact. The real fact is that is Brahma is Sattva, it is Brahma, that is Sattva. In like this, Thatu Brahma Jigyasa, now we have to inquire about Brahma. So about this description, Brahma, 𝒍𝒂𝒏𝒕 𝒍𝒐𝟗 and in the Vedanta Sutra it is said, Janmadhyasya jataha, anything which is emanating everything which is emanating from a particular source, that is Brahma. So, what is that original source of everything? That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said, Sarvasya Prabhava. From me, everything is emanating. Therefore, Krishna is Param Brahma. Therefore, the conclusion is that if you come to the platform of bhakti, then automatically become liberated. So, it is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mancha Bhavicharini Bhakti Yogi na Jasevate Sagunan Samatitta Etan Brahma Bhuvag. In order to become mukta or 𝒍𝒘𝒂𝒚𝒔 bhakta. Kechit, somebody, not the Kurmis, not the Gyanis, not the Yogis, can execute devotional service. The Kurmis, it is openly known that they want to enjoy. They want something. Similarly, Gyanis, they want to become one with the Supreme. That is also wanting something. The Yogis also, they all want something, some mystic power. So Karmis, Gyanis, Yogis, all of them wanting something. The subject matter of want may be different. But a bhakta, he does not want anything. He simply wants to be engaged in carrying out the orders of the Supreme Lord. But is very, very rare. Of many millions of Kurmis, one may be Gyani. To become perfect Gyani or perfect Yogi. And 𝒍𝒘𝒂𝒚𝒔 siddhyara, and amongst the question, some of them, maybe someone is able to understand me. Therefore, in this verse it is clearly said, Kechi, the same thing. 𝒍𝒘𝒂𝒚𝒔 tattva. To become a bhakta is not so easy. Therefore it is Kechi. Somebody, some rare personality may become a bhakta. So, 𝒍𝒘𝒂𝒚𝒔 bhakta. Kevalaya means unalloyed, pure. Kevalam bhakti means Shuddha bhakti, unalloyed bhakti. Otherwise, bhakti is sometimes mixed with jnana and sometimes mixed with yoga. Because Karmis, Gyanis and Yogis, they have got some desire to be fulfilled. The Karmis want to be elevated to the heavenly planet. The Gyanis, they want to become one with the Supreme Lord. And the Yogis, they want power to exhibit so that they may be honored as God. Yoga, mystic power. 𝒂𝐻𝐻𝐈𝐍. Bhakti means one must be freed from all these desires. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami gives the definition of bhakti, annavilasita sunnam, without any other desire. Other means bhakti, to enjoy this material world or to become one with the God, or to get some mystic power. So, the bhakti means annavilasita sunnam. No karmis desire, no desire. So, some cleans from the desires of jnana, karma, yoga. You should be desireless. So these are all material desires. But you cannot be desireless. That is not possible. Then he is dead and gone. Yes. Gone. So desirelessness means no material desire. So we cannot be desireless. But desirelessness means no bhukti, no yogiddhi, neither oneness, monism to merge into the Supreme. These are all material desires. So bhakti means the anukullena Krishna anusilanam Bhaktivedanta. That is first class bhakti, when we are ready to serve Krishna as he orders. So, to become ready to serve Krishna is desirelessness. Otherwise, a living entity, a living being cannot be desireless. So this Krishna consciousness movement, how to become desirous to serve Krishna. This teaching, perfection of instruction we find in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna says, 𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒔, I shall execute what you order. I shall execute any order which you order me. Arjuna was a soldier, and he was a soldier. And after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he remained a soldier. But in the beginning of the fight, to fight with others. This is the stage of abhakta or non-devotee. Although mundane person will very much be pleased that was not willing to fight, he is non-violent. But Krishna was not accepting. So fighting is not a good business. So Arjuna was declining to fight. It was good from the worldly point of view. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna inquired Arjuna, what you have decided? Arjuna replied, Nashta moho sati labdhya karisye vacanam tava. Now I am quite in knowledge. I shall execute this. When we are prepared to execute the order of Krishna, that is the platform of mukti. Therefore, it is said, 𝒄𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕 bhaktya vasudeva parayana. Simply by executing the order of Vasudeva, one becomes mukta. Just like master and servant. If the servant executes the order of the master, he is faultless. If the servant declines to execute the order of the master, however qualified he may be, he is useless. So therefore it is said, 𝒄𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕 bhakta, without any contamination, simply ready to execute the order of Krishna or Vasudeva. Therefore it is called Vasudeva Parayana. Therefore it is in the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mang prapadyate. After many, many births of struggling, when one is actually jnanavan, wise, he surrenders unto me. So, either you become karmi, jnani or yogi, you are not mukta. Mukta means I have already defined. Mukti hitya annatha rupam sarupena avasthiti. When you stay in your own original position, to execute the order of Krishna, that is mukti. So, in the previous verses, the mode of progress is tamasa brahmacharjena samena damena va. These things have to be executed. But here in these verses, simply if you want a pure devotee, then it is to be understood that I have already executed tapasa, brahmacharya, sama, dhamma, everything. Condition of life is due to our material attraction or papa, impious activity. Here it is confirmed that kevalaya bhakta agham dhundanti kasnena. Totally, you can kill all reaction of sinful activities. And a very good example is given here. Nihara eva bhaskara. Nihara means fog. In the fog you cannot see what is in your front. But as soon as there is sunrise, immediately fog is dissipated. Therefore, Bhaunam Janmanamanti Gyavan Mang Prabhaddate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudhirjava. When we understand that Vasudeva is the supreme Samahatma, then we become the great Mahatma. So, if you accept Krishna consciousness, then life of ignorance will finish and you come to the light and become liberated. If you come to Krishna consciousness, the light there, therefore the darkness of life is dissipated. Therefore it is said, 𝒍𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒔 Hare tapasa tatakkim. If you have learned how to worship Hare, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then there is no more if you can see Hare, Krishna within yourself and outside yourself, then what is the use of tapasa? Antarbhahi jadi Hare tapasa tatakkim. And if you have not learned to see Krishna in yourself and outside, then what is the use of your tapasa? So, this movement is giving the chance to everyone. It doesn't mean for any particular nation, particular country or particular person. For everyone. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all over the world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all over the world, in every village and every town, this message will be spread, and that is being done. So, it is a great movement. I request you all to join wholeheartedly. Thank you very much. Hare.
Rath Yatra in the Western world done with a cart, which Jayananda and myself built along with a couple of other devotees. We're bending redwood struts for the canopies. The entire cart was made out of redwood that we got very cheaply from a wrecking company which was demolishing old homes in San Francisco. And we sanded every board so that it looked like new wood. You can't find wood like this anymore. And we formed it over many weeks of effort in the parking lot next to the temple on Frederick Street. We built it purposely low to fit below the wires, and in those days they had electric trolleys still on the streets in San Francisco. In those days the carts were one of a kind. When the parade was finished, they were dismantled in place and the wood was hauled off and disposed of. And Malati and the other girls sewed the cloth covering.
That year was the first year that Lord Jagannath ever wore clothes. Srila Prabhupada told us that we had to make clothes for him, and he drew a little picture. And I remember Shyam Sundar said he was like shocked. He goes, because he was very proud of how carefully he painted the deities. He goes, and cover up the paint job. But Jamuna and Harsharani, they immediately came to the grips with the task, making beautiful outfits and turbans. The very, very first clothing or decoration that was given to Lord Jagannath was, of course, given by Srila Prabhupada. And that wasn't in June of 1968, but that was in December of 1967 when Srila Prabhupada returned from India after recuperation from his heart attack. And Srila Prabhupada came off the plane with his danda. First time we'd seen Srila Prabhupada with his sannyas raj. And hanging off of his sannyas raj was a little saffron pouch. And we thought how curious that was, because we thought that the rod you held in front of you, but Srila Prabhupada had this rod over his shoulder, and the little pouch was on the end. At any rate, we brought him to the Willard Street apartment. So when Srila Prabhupada sat down in the front room, he had his suitcases opened. He had brought gifts for ladies. Every lady had a sari. And he brought our temple the first gift of a coconut grater. But in the little bag, he opened it up and wrapped it and unfolded it. And inside were 3 silken malas, the kind that you get at a deity store. For the small deities, of course, these are very, very thin, maybe 1/4 of an inch wide. But these malas that Srila Prabhupada bought were a good 1.5 inches thick. But because they were in this little bag, they were all crunched up. and actually quite unattractive looking because they'd been a little bit damaged. So naturally we had never seen anything like that. What was it? So Swamiji explained that these were decorations that we could offer to Lord Jagannath. And in fact, Lord Jagannath, we could even make clothes for him. So what kind of clothes would you make? Does he already have clothes on? Isn't that what the painting is? That's on the deity. No, he said that's one kind of painting. You'll find deities will be sometimes painted, sometimes there'll be carving on the deities that will show that it's jewelry or clothing. But no, you can make clothes. So what kind of clothes do you make for a deity like Jagannath? So Prabhupada said, here's what you do. So he said he wears a turban, he wears a shawl, and they wear like little skirt. So then he asked for volunteers who would sew. So Harsharani and Yamuna decided, well, we will volunteer. So for this 1968 Rath Yatra, we were working with the builders, and when they gave us the drawing, we had come up with this very, very handsome, already made and pleated series of umbrellas, almost like umbrellas that went around these outpourings of these cupolas in this wonderful bright cloth of saffron and gold. Now Jagannath, Subhadra, and Balaram were in red satin, and you can see the pictures of them. We even managed to get some wonderful garlands of fragrant flowers for this, red turbans.
Jayananda planned the car and built the car, and subsequently every year he was known as Mr. Rath Yatra. He would not sleep before the festival, and each year it improved the decoration from 1 car to 3. This was the first car that he built. It's so beautiful. This became and has remained a San Francisco tradition. On this day, it's a special day for Lord Jagannath, and this is acknowledged by the officials of San Francisco.
One very exciting thing about this Rath Yatra festival for me was this prayer, Gauranga Balite Habe Pulaka Sharira. This bhajan. This bhajan was the theme, practically, when there wasn't a kirtan going on by one of the disciples. This bhajan was played over a little megaphone system of Prabhupada singing it, and it sometimes played on the cart if somebody wasn't leading in between kirtans. At the end of the procession, when the cart was at the beach, this bhajan of Prabhupada played for hours and hours, the devotees said. I remember just the short time that I was at the beach, that when the wind would move back and forth, it would catch the sound of this magnificent prayer, and in my mind it's always been the theme of our 1968 Rath Yatra festival, of Lord Chaitanya's longing for Krishna. And I remember that when we were at an ocean kirtan one night, at the very end of the prayers, after he said Jai Tulsi Devi, and he said, all glories to the Pacific Ocean. And we said, Hare Krishna. And he said, all glories to the Pacific Ocean. Hare Krishna.
I ever lost you. I've been crying to Krishna, how have I lost Kirtanananda? And he invited us to come and visit him in Montreal. We did, and he embraced me very warmly. Did surrender. Long towards summer, Prabhupada went to Montreal, and I wrote to him and begged forgiveness for my offenses and told him I couldn't forget him, couldn't forget Krishna consciousness, and I wanted to surrender to him. He wrote back and said, oh, my dear son, how have I ever lost you? I've been crying to Krishna, how have I lost Kirtanananda? And he invited us to come and visit him in Montreal. We did, and he embraced me very warmly and said, now it is confirmed that we cannot be separated.
One morning, one of the devotees asked me to bring over some bhoga to Srila Prabhupada's, where he was staying, and so I walked over there with the groceries, and I knocked real softly on the door, and Himavati opened the door, just a little crack, and I handed her the bhoga, and the corner of my eye, and I looked down through the crack, I saw Srila Prabhupada sitting and chanting japa, and Srila Prabhupada asked Himavati, who's at the door? And Himavati said, Kanchabala came to bring bhoga, and then Prabhupada said, tell her to come in. So I came in, and I didn't expect it at all. It was just really a wonderful surprise, and I just fell down, bowed down, and offered obeisances. And Prabhupada told me to sit down, and we chanted japa together. That was real nice.
So when Prabhupada came, they rented him a small room, and I got the opportunity to spend, maybe it was 5 days with Prabhupada. And it was just a room, and it sort of had a little side alcove where there was a sink and a place where you could cook something. So I slept under that sink and in that area. The first night I was so nervous I couldn't sleep. About 1 in the morning, I heard Prabhupada rustling and getting up. And he didn't turn on the light or anything. And he started chanting on his beads. So I wondered, what should I do? Should I get up or pretend I'm sleeping? I didn't know what I should do. So I didn't do anything. I pretended I was sleeping. But the next day the same thing happened. I was so nervous I couldn't sleep again. So when Prabhupada got up and started chanting, then I also made myself known. So Prabhupada, he turned on the light and he said, oh, you're up? I said, well, Prabhupada, I'm so nervous I haven't been able to sleep. And he said, oh, that's good, very good. He said, I think sleeping is a waste of time. He said, I don't like to sleep. He said, and I don't like my disciples to sleep. Then he said, practically speaking, our aim is to make eating 0, sleeping 0, sex 0, and defense 0. We don't say that, but that is the aim.
The Montreal temple, was going very well, but we always had a difficult time paying the monthly rent. And there was some danger that they would lose the temple at one point because they just didn't have the rent money. And Prabhupada actually proposed the idea to me and Pradyumna that we should go out and meet people in the Indian community and explain to them that we're trying to establish this Radha Krishna temple here and maintain this temple, and that we would like their support and help. But in any case, Pradyumna and I didn't actually follow up that instruction. I think that we just didn't know how to go about doing it. But one thing that I did know how to do, I knew how to sort of go out and raise money at an airport. I mean, I was just a young boy, 17. I remember being short on my airline fare a couple of times, and I didn't know what to do. So I just started asking people, could you spare a buck? I'm, $5 short on my flight. And sort of miraculously, people were kind enough to give me a few dollars. And here I was, I had absolutely no skill. I went out and went to the airport, and I just started doing that, and I managed to raise a few $100s. And I gave it to the temple for the rent, and I wasn't even aware that Prabhupada knew about it, really. But about 4 or 5 years later, just out of the blue, Prabhupada said to me, he said, I remember when you raised the money to save the Montreal temple. And I was so touched to realize that Prabhupada had this memory of me, that I had done some service to help save the temple. And it just really surprised me because I had no idea that Prabhupada was aware of that or that he would remember that. I'll never forget, in so many ways, Prabhupada always expressed such kindness and love for his disciples.
Janardhan arranged one time for Prabhupada to go speak to the professors at McGill University. They had a faculty meeting or something, so Prabhupada went to join them for dinner. Prabhupada doesn't eat dinner with people who eat meat and stuff, but he said, I'm not supposed to do this, but he says, it's for preaching, I'll go. See, after Boston, Prabhupada went to Montreal, and he spent the whole summer there. Actually, he had to go there because his visa was finished, and he had to leave the country. And it was uncertain even whether Prabhupada would be able to ever return to the United States. And Allen Ginsberg was helping, Ramananda was at Ginsberg working with lawyers to try to get his, and they said the only way he can do this is if he leaves the country. He has to leave the country to make a new visa application. And it has to be 3 months at least. So Prabhupada established in Montreal, and he said, it's okay, doesn't matter, we get it, we don't get it, then I'll make Montreal the world headquarters. And a lot of devotees came up for the summer, and then it was under application. And then about in August sometime it came through, he got it.
This building is the first temple they had in Buffalo. It was LaSalle Avenue, not the university. I saw the devotees there, and they were advertising the Sunday feast, and I used to see them in some of the classrooms at night with cartels and burning incense, and I was very kind of curious about them. There was a class offered that was called Introduction to Vedic Literature. So Rupanuga presented this class on Krishna consciousness.
Rupanuga Prabhu had invited him because he was giving a Bhakti Yoga class at the university there, at the University of Buffalo. Srila Prabhupada stayed around a week. He was staying at Rupanuga Prabhu's house, and he gave lectures at different universities there, and also at the University of Buffalo, and he gave classes daily at the temple there. And as soon as I joined the temple, I had become a Pujari. Actually, they made me the head Pujari the day I moved into the temple, although I wasn't so sure what the names of the deities were. And I became the treasurer. I was a student at the University of Buffalo. I was also a devotee. We used to go with our full dhoti and tilak, shaven head, to school. But in the morning when I wasn't going to the university, I'd spend it with Prabhupada, listening to him. So I'd spend practically every morning with him. One time I was trying to see Prabhupada's effulgence because I was practicing Hatha Yoga, and Prabhupada immediately looked at me and he said, our method is bhakti and not mystic yoga. So then I could understand that Prabhupada was quite perceptive. He gave very nice instructions. One time he stopped when he was talking to us, because sometimes it would be for a period of time, maybe a couple of hours. So every once in a while he'd stop and pick up his beads and start chanting. He said, if you ever have time, then chant. I remember one instruction he gave me. He said that don't try and teach your godbrothers lessons. Prabhupada was giving one lecture at a university, and during that time one person crawled up to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, how far down do you have to get in order to see God? How humble do you have to get, more or less? And he was crawling up to Prabhupada. Later on he became initiated by Prabhupada. His name was Kushakrata Prabhupada. It's quite an unusual personality at that time, but by Prabhupada's mercy and by the mercy of the Association of Devotees, he became a Sanskrit editor.
That record went everywhere, the first record of Hare Krishna. Nobody rehearsed it, and it went so smooth. The Happening record, there was a very hip station, it's called WBAI, and there was a guy on it all night from 11 o'clock until 8 o'clock. And it was the most popular night station. I went up there with the record. He used to do far out things, this guy, and he played it non-stop until the next morning, over and over. People called in and said, hey, that's cool, we love it, you know, and he did it.
He was talking about Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan, and he would close his eyes and he would get massage and he would talk about Krishna. And he would describe how they do not know Krishna is God. The cowherd boys are coming home from the forest and say, oh, mother, Krishna killed one very big demon today. Hey, Krishna is so wonderful. And they are not knowing he is God. They are simply thinking Krishna is so wonderful. And whenever he would talk like this, when he would stop, you wouldn't know where you were. You had been transported to some other loka. You have to remember your identity and who you were and where it was transporting. His power to transport you was there. And I got very addicted to that sweetness, that transcendental sweetness. One time he was talking about how there's no fear. Krishna is playing leapfrog with the boys, and they have no fear. They're just playing. And all of a sudden you experience no fear. And you realize you're always fearing. And you don't even know it, but in the back of your mind you're always fearing. And for a few moments you experience no fear. Kartikeya was telling me, it was such an amazing experience. For a few moments I felt fearless. And this way, when he would talk about Vrindavan, you would be there. He was in Leela. He was seeing everything. But you couldn't see it, but you could feel it. And so I got very addicted to that. So then when he went off to India, the whole time he was in India, I prayed to Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath, we had one murti in in Montreal. I was there for 6 months. And I prayed, please let me take care of Swamiji when he comes back from India. So while Prabhupada was in India, he wrote me a letter. I wrote him a letter expressing that desire. He wrote me a letter back saying, I shall build a house in Vrindavan where you and your husband can come from all your days. And at the end of the letter, he wrote, I know your mind. He knew everything I was thinking. He heard my prayers. He knew everything I was thinking. So when he came back, that desire was fulfilled. He allowed me to be with him, to serve him for that whole year, which was very sweet, because it was just in the time before the organization took off in a very big way. And at that time, Prabhupada was still kind of not completely well from his stroke. He was having some difficulty. So it was kind of like I would kind of mother him and he would kind of father us. We were like children, but we were like a family. Everything was out of love. And that's a rare, sweet time that I think he also thinks is very special.
I took this walk with Purushottam and Jadharani and Srila Prabhupada, and it was snowing, and there were a couple of teenage girls, young teenage girls, standing across the street, and they had on mini skirts, and like I said, it was snowing. So Jadharani and I naturally were glancing across the street thinking it was very odd for these two young teenage girls to have mini skirts on in the snow. And the teenage girls were looking across the street at Jadharani and I at having these saris on. So Srila Prabhupada noted the humor, and he said, you're looking at them, and they are looking at you. He said, their austerity is for sex life, and your austerity is for Krishna.
Okay, it's the late summer of '68, the full nectarine, and Nayana